trusting ourselves. So, just in case you don't know me, I'm all about fostering honest conversations that people don't usually have, and I'm focused on women empowerment and self growth, and creating digital tools and products for women to help them reflect, reconnect with themselves, and grow. Right? Because we all need that. So I wanted to talk about this topic of trusting ourselves because trusting yourself is one of the most important things. And it's not talked about a lot because a lot of times people won't talk about it because people want to be persuasive. Like they want to, um, I believe like people want to tell you, like even the media, right? They show persuasive, like sales, like news, like they want to drive the way you think. They want to drive your next action. But there's something powerful about trust. Now, let me get this poll out. You know I like polls. Come on now. And today's question is going to be have have you ignored your intuition? Um I always like these questions because it gives me ideas um about who's watching, and we could see that we're not alone. So I'm just gonna write the more than once. And the next one is I still do. Okay. Sorry, so I'm just writing the poll. I love these polls because it reminds you you're not alone. And it's an awesome tool so everyone can see, oh, okay, I'm struggling with this too. Okay. And yeah, your intuition it's so powerful, and that's why you'll see not a lot of people teach about it or talk about it because it can drive the way you take action. It can, hey Gavin, how are you? How are you, everyone? Let me know how your day's going so far. Hey, is it Dibia? Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. Let me know how you guys are, where you guys are like basically typing from. Um, I already said that. I already said your name. Um, okay. And so, intuition, like your trust could be one of the most important things you have. And I believe sometimes trust can really stem from, um, like, hey, Susan, how are you doing, girl? Algeria. Oh, okay. And yeah, so I believe that trust could really stem from a lot of things. Like maybe if you went through something with friendships, even careers, like maybe you trusted someone. Oh, Coco. Oh, I love that. Okay, I'm gonna remember that girl, Coco. And okay, nice, nice. What part of America? Okay. So yeah, and it can really stem from, maybe you've, trusted someone and they broke that trust. And then every time someone outwardly, especially if you put a lot of your trust in people and they are outwardly break it, it could affect the way you trust yourself and the way you move. Okay. So for me, I think the first time my pivotal moment was thanks, Gavin. I'm from Mayana. I don't know where that is. It's Cug. I don't know what you guys' name is. Okay. And so for me, my pivotal moment, I think when I first really trusted my decisions. I've had many moments like that, but for me was when I didn't have much belief in myself and I had gotten laid off, and I remember asking myself because had to figure out I needed to do what I needed to do next. And I remember asking myself questions, and I hadn't done this before because my self esteem was low. I hated the job I was doing, and I asked myself, I was like, okay, so it's like I either believe in myself or I continue to do the same things that I've done before. That's not working. That's bringing me down. Because you see, it's so easy like when you're at a very low point, it's so easy to do the same thing over and over again that you're comfortable with. And sometimes moving to the next level and taking it to a level where your future self will thank you requires being uncomfortable. A lot of us want to be uncomfortable. A lot of us want to be comfortable, but a lot of times when you're trying to move to the next level, like that is a time where you need to be comfortable. Put one in the chat if you had a moment like me where you had to be uncomfortable and trust yourself. Put a one in the chat. Okay, so I'm gonna go into the first point of trusting yourself and what it costs you. Okay. Put a two in the chat if you want to hear the first point of what not trusting yourself costs you. Okay, so the first one is you end up living someone else's life. Hey, Abril. You end up living someone else's life. Okay, when you're not trusting yourself, so you'll feel disconnected. You're gonna feel disconnected. Um, you're gonna follow advice that doesn't exactly align with you. So you ever had a moment where you had a thought and you're like, "Well, I want to do this," or "I feel like I need to do this," and then all of a sudden you get advice from someone, and then you're like, "Yeah," and then you're like, one second here, like, what is wrong? Right? And then you're like, oh, I want to do something, but you don't trust yourself enough to actually move forward. Like you don't trust yourself enough to be like, oh, I'm gonna make my own decision, and you're like, well, I'm gonna go with that person says, because maybe you trust them, or maybe because you're like, well, they have a life that looks good. They seem to be walking all the steps, like that. You feel like everyone should be taking. You feel like, oh well, I should go by what they're saying, because I don't have enough experience. So it's like you're talking down to yourself because again, you don't trust yourself that well, right? Sometimes we don't look at the cost of not trusting yourself because it affects every move that you make. It affects. Um, you start chasing goals that you don't want, and I saw this in myself, and I wasn't aware of it, but I was chasing goals that other people gave me because I didn't trust myself enough to follow my own goals. So then it came to a point in time where before you know it, I was like running a business that I did not necessarily enjoyed. Yes, it changed my life. Yes, like at the time it was for a good season, but then once I started getting deep in it, I was like, yeah, but do I want to do this? And then I remember I had a coach at the time and she would be like, well, why would you want to change it? Because you're like making money from it. Like it's like paying your bills. But I'm like, yeah, but it's not something I want to do for the next 20 years. Right. Um, and you don't realize it at the time, but it's like the cost of not trusting yourself and like what you're thinking is you're gonna start chasing other people's ideas. You're gonna think that whatever someone else is doing is way better than what you're doing. And who knows? And you can put a one in the chat that most of the time it's not a straight line. Put a one in the chat. Not a straight line. Um and so and sometimes what works for someone else doesn't work for you. So just because they may look at it in a certain way doesn't mean that it doesn't mean like what works for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you because you're completely unique. Like no one is like you, right? And so our paths are different. Oh my gosh. One second. Oh, this is so annoying. Okay. So the next point is not trusting not trusting, um, not trusting yourself leads to permission. Like you want constant permission. Okay, so this is a big one. So it's like you're waiting for something to happen. Um, You're waiting for something to mysteriously happen. Like you're waiting for permission. You're waiting for um you're waiting for someone to validate. You're waiting for someone to give you an answer, right? Before you make that move. Right? You become like it's like your life is just shaped around permission. Right? You're trying to get everything that you're doing to be qualified. Like because you don't feel like it's qualified. Um you you're more confident in what someone thinks and what you're doing. Like you don't feel as confident in what you're doing. And like I said, you're looking for validation in every single area, no matter what it is, right? And what I realize is that um, it will cost you because you're always looking for permission outwards. You're never looking for permission. Like, what do you want? Like, what is it exactly that you want in your life? Like, trusting yourself causes you to constantly seek permission, and you're never actually thinking for yourself because you're always looking at, okay, does the other person approve it? Especially if you have someone that you really look up to. I feel like sometimes it's dangerous. Like, yes, it's good to get like advice from people. It's good to get pointers, but if that person's word triumphs what you feel in here, like you have to take a step back, right? Like it's just so important. And if you're not connected with yourself, you're always going to be looking externally at someone else. Like if you're not connected with yourself and you're not always asking yourself and doing things based on what you want and trusting your ideas, trusting stuff that may be different. Like you know how many times I've done stuff that was completely different than what people said what was the norm, and then it ended up working, and then I was like, oh, I should have just trusted myself. Or I ended up having an idea and then I saw someone else do it and I'm like, okay, so this was a validated idea, right? And this is why I created the Build Where We Are workshop. Sorry, not the workshop, like a clarity call, because I know what it feels like to have an idea and then you're just overthinking. I know what it feels like to have idea and then you're always second guessing and you're always wondering, oh, should I take that step into the idea that I have? Like, or you spend too long just um trying to mirror someone else's life. You spend too long just looking at someone else. You're comparing. You're wondering, oh, why isn't my life like that? Or like you're always comparing your life and you're like, oh, I wish my life was better. You're spending that too much time. And the call is for women who knows there's more, but they just don't know how to get there. They don't know exactly like the exact steps. Right? So I want to help you stop chasing goals that is not yours and actually chase the goals that is yours, and you start creating your own story, because just like you relate to my story, there's someone that will relate to yours, but we'll talk more about that later. Let's talk about the third point. And I love seeing the votes come in have you ignored. See, there's like a good amount of people who have ignored their intuition. um the next point is you're disconnected with yourself, so you stop listening to your intuition, right? So when you get an intuition, it's like you get like a nudge. It's like that nudge. And then there's a part of you that like kind of like you dig it underneath the ground because you're like, "Oh, I don't know about this." And so what happens is I find what happens is the more you ignore your intuition, the more it's like the voice gets smaller and smaller to the point then you feel like you're losing yourself. And then when you're disconnected with yourself, you stop checking in with yourself, right? If you're disconnected with yourself, there's no way that you're checking in with yourself. There's no way like you're taking walks and you're just talking to yourself and you're letting your mind flow. Okay? Um and then you're confused because how can you be sure of yourself and not know? So then you're always constantly confused. You're not sure of your direction. You're at a point where you're at crossroads where you're trying to figure out, oh, like what's the next step? Like it causes you so much, guys, when you're not trusting yourself. And this is something I learned. It's like you'll always be confused. You'll never be sure on the path, and even when you like go on that path, you tend to go off of that path because you're like, well, I'm not sure. Like you're not confident in it. It's like you're not confident in your decisions, and you're so disconnected with yourself that you know what everyone wants but you. Isn't that the worst? Like you follow someone else's life and you know what they want, you know what their goals, you know exactly what you're doing, what they're doing, but you don't know exactly what you want, what you're doing. Like you don't know, like you're not on that level of knowing exactly where you're going. Like, do you know your next 5 year goal? That'd be my next question. Like, do you know your next 5 year goal? Right? Or do you know like what you want to accomplish by the end of this year? A lot of people will just coast. Like they just it's like it makes it's such a dangerous place because you just start to coast. You're just coasting. It's like I don't know where exactly I'm going. I'm just coasting. Hey everyone who's watching, how are you? Feel free to comment and chat, say hey. We're just talking about, the cost of not trusting yourself. And so I'm going through the points right now. I'm on point 3. Um and so the next question I'll ask you is when was the last time you asked what you wanted? Put a comment in the chat. I'm very curious to hear. Like, when was the last time you asked what you wanted? Or put a 2 in the chat saying, oh, like, have you asked yourself recently what you wanted? Put a 2 in the chat. The next point is 4. Everyone's voice triumphs your voice. Right? So friends' voices will be very loud. Like what they think about you are very loud, and like how they do things, and like the next action you should be doing is very loud. Like the next action that they think you do would be very loud, especially with family, mentors. It's like you can't think for yourself. Like I went through a phase like that, like especially going to church and having like a lot of like very great people in my life, really good mentors at church. And it came a point where I got tired of just going to people and trying to find an answer. And it got to a point where I was like, I just want to figure out this myself because you could only go so much to people, and most times like they don't get it. Like most times people won't understand like where you're coming from. Yes, they could help you to a certain extent, but they won't understand like the deepness of what you're going through. And then until you try to figure it out. So maybe you're getting help, like advice from somewhere else, but it comes to a point where you have to figure it out yourself so you can overcome it. So you're not repeating the cycle over and over because we're always going to be going through things. So we have to figure it out. But no one's voice should triumph yours. Like advice should be a second opinion. It should not be a main opinion. Like your opinion should be the main thing. Like if your opinion is not the main thing, oh, you're gonna get so confused because you know what it is? You're gonna always ask so many different types of people, and they're gonna have so many advice, so much different. Like their advice is always gonna be different, and that was one of the things I hated most is when I would go to people to find the magic answer, and I'll be like, oh my god, like their answers are all different, and then you get more confused. Like I remember when I was trying to decide what school to go to. And I remember instead of asking myself, like I had an idea what school I wanted to go, but then I started asking different people and then I got more confused. And I think that was one of the moments where I stopped kind of asking multiple people because I realized like you kind of have to protect that space. So maybe you ask one person, that's it, and you make a decision. Because you start asking multiple people, they're gonna be telling you different things. Like, hey, like maybe you should do this, or like maybe you should do that. And it's like it's not good for you. Especially, and I don't recommend it for people where I'm sorry, like it's okay to talk it out, but I think the more confused you are, I feel like people more confuse you even more until you decide to like make it clear, like bring clarity to yourself. And these votes are interesting, by the way. So no. Also, some people never ignore their intuition. I would love to talk to you guys and tell me more about that. So the fifth one is you become a shadow artist. So I've been doing the artist way. Any of you guys know the book Artist Way? So that book has been life changing for me because what she does is from Julie Cameron. And what she does is she'll make you write 3 pages every day. Well, she's a make you, but She tells you to write it's called the Miracle Journal, and you write 3 pages every day. And the idea is that you're getting everything out your head onto paper, and then you're doing like tasks along the way. And it's such a game changer because you don't realize how much is going on in your head until you start writing it out, and all your ideas will come out, all every like insecurity will come out on the pages, and you're able to see it right at hand. Like you're no longer you're no longer letting it cook in your mind, basically. And so there's a part in that book where she talks about how a lot of people are shadow artists, and I remember thinking like, what is that? And so essentially what that is she was saying like, so a lot of people will tend to work with people or be around people who do a certain thing that they've been wanting to do, but most of the time people don't do it because they think like they can't make a career like that out of that. And so let me give you an example. So at the time, I was working with clients who were very in creative spaces. So like they're in like podcasts, like they're sorry, not podcasts. So there's people that were featured on a lot of podcasts. I was like working with speakers who spoke on like really big stages, right? And I was helping them get clients, and then I realized I was like, but wait, like these are some of the things I actually want to do for myself. Like, so I subconsciously, it was like, I realized I was working with people where I was very intrigued or inspired by what they did. But for myself, I was like, I don't think I can do this. Like, because I don't think I can make a living out of it, or I don't believe I could do what I love and get paid for it. So then I was a shadow artist. So I would basically work with people who were living like a life that I would want. And so she says that a lot of people actually do that. So here's 3 questions that you should ask yourself to get an idea of what you would like to do is what do you admire? Who do you admire? And what about them do you admire? And is this something secretly that you would want for yourself? So like if you're maybe, and it may not be working with them, it may be like you're following them on Instagram and you secretly watch your life or you secretly compare yourself to them. And I remember I once had a coach say, like, usually when you compare yourself to someone, it's because you feel like you have the qualities that they have and that you should be farther along. So let me break that down a little bit more. Because she was like, usually when you compare yourself to someone, you're not going to compare yourself to someone that you're you don't feel like you could be head on. Like I never compared myself to example like Beyonce, like some like big person because I don't relate to her. I don't have anything. I don't she doesn't have anything I would want. Like I don't want to be a singer or something like that. But usually you'll find that you will you will usually compare yourself to someone that you admire, you secretly admire, or they have something that you think you possess. Like there's something in them that you see in yourself that makes you like feel like, oh, like I feel like I can do something better. Like it can so like that's a really good indicator, like that maybe you're a shadow artist, like you're kind of like watching people that you secretly admire, that you would want to do the same thing they're doing. Next one is you become afraid of making decisions. So you can't basically it's like um you can't make any decisions. You take months to make decisions. Press a one in the chat if you sometimes take time to make decisions. Um you're worried about what everyone thinks about that decision, right? It's all around that. You're overthinking your decisions. Basically, you're overthinking. You're going like you're hopping from both. Like one day you're like, yes, I'll do it. Next day you're like, no, I don't think so, and you keep on going back and forth. It's so exhausting. Like making a decision, I've learned that like it's a lot more exhausting if you just keep on thinking about it rather than if you just make the decision. Like it's just way easier to do so, by the way. Um and the next one is you lose confidence in your intuition. Now, before I go to that point, I want to put you on to this book. So this book right here. Okay. So I'm not deep in human design. That's a book right there. But I don't know. One day I came across this book and I felt very like pulled to it. And I really like it because she breaks down different people in the human design world. But I feel like it was so accurate. Now, I'm not deep in it, but it was made for a beginner. And she was talking about decisions and like the way we make decisions. And it was because of this book, it made me like, it kind of made me realize that people make decisions differently. I didn't know this before. I thought we all like struggle in the same way. But like, so for me, for example, because I think I was like a manifester, she said like I did better if I just made a decision. Like basically, I would think about it for like maybe a day or two and then made the decision, for example, or I give myself some time to think about it, but not wait too long. Where she was talking about like another type of person, where sometimes they need 28 days to make the decision. So this book, like if you are like struggling with trusting yourself, like this book right here, you need to get this book because it makes you understand more about how you work. And when you understand how you work, then it brings some confidence, right? Right? It gives you like a little pep, like to keep on going. And I found that it made me even like understand and validate a lot about myself, where now it's like I can walk more confidently. Like this book, How Do You Choose, is so good. Get that book if you have it. Okay. So going back to the next point is you lose confidence in your intuition. Um, so I learned this from Hillary McLeay. So she has a podcast that's called "Designed as You Human Design Podcast." Now, hear me out, okay? Can I tell you I'm not into this? I want to make that clear. But I love the way she thinks. She's very high level when it comes about talking about mindset and intuition, and like she really goes deep dive. Like Hillary McLeay, you need to check her out. Check out her podcast. So she talked about like when it comes to listening to your intuition, you would create. Hey. You would create a evidence folder, and she talked about like you put your gut feelings, all your nudges, your like ideas, your thoughts. So you become aware of it, and then you can basically look back and review and see what come to pass and what didn't. Um, Honestly, Hillary McLeay, I think she's like a goat. Because the way she like breaks down things and like how like, cause you know how sometimes like we want to know every step, like, but like she really teaches you about like trusting every step of the way. Like she really like solidified me when it came to trusting people. Not trusting people, sorry, just trusting the process. Because I struggled with like being impatient sometimes with the process. And she really breaks that down so well. So I really recommend you to like check her out. Um, But yeah, so like that's one of the like one of the things you could do, especially if you're losing, like especially if you've lost confidence in your intuition, to build it back up. Do that, right? Sometimes it's like small little promises that you do for yourself to like build that trust again, right? So if you tell yourself, "Oh, I'm gonna clean," or "Oh, I'm gonna do this for myself," like whatever that is, I'm going to exercise class. You do the exercise class, no matter how you feel. Like even if you're tired, okay, keep that promise to yourself because you notice that you'll always feel better when you do it, even though you didn't feel like doing it in the first place. But you always feel better when you do it. Okay. Um. So yeah, these are the points that I had. Hey, how are you? I'm good. I'm good. I'm just like I pretty much went through the points, but I was just talking about trust and like different things I learned about it. But yeah, I was just talking. Yeah, I was just talking about it, and yeah, no worries. I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back on at 10. So we're coming back on again. But yes. So yeah, that's like if you're watching this again and you want to do the replay, like I go through all 7 points. And I gave like book recommendations too. So I think you'll like it. And I'm just gonna do something differently just from our earlier conversation. And then as always, I always like to share the page. I've been trying something different, so let me try this. So I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna pin it. So we're just talking about the build where we are clarity call because it just aligns with everything that I'm doing. And let me find my page. It's always so fun to do. Oh, there we go. This is so fun. So here's the link here, and then I'm gonna share like this screen here. This is so fun. And I'm going to share what I'm sharing here. Okay. Okay, so like this is what I'm gonna share. So this is what I'm sharing. You can see myself there. That's so fun. And so this is the build for where you are clarity call session. And basically, it's for women who want to have clarity. If you have ideas, you have passions, you have stories to share with people. This is for you. If you overthink and you want to trust yourself more, you want to get rid of self doubt, and you want to just let it not stop you. Like, this is for you. And it's a safe space to brainstorm ideas, gain clarity, identity, possibility, identify possibilities, organize your thoughts, and you'll leave with some clarity. Personalized next steps, encouragement, start your business. Right? Like embark on an idea, make a plan, simple action plan for whatever you want to do. Um, and you can basically book a call so you can like choose a time. I'm pretty flexible. Not yet, actually. I always just share it on here for now. Um, I should though. I'm gonna make a post, and the link didn't work. But yeah, the link didn't work on when I added it in the chat, but it's all good. But I should. Yeah, and you just choose a time and then you go from there. I was like, share it. And yeah, I probably will. I'll make a post. But I always appreciate you jumping on, girl. And I'll be back on at 10 o'clock tonight. I'm going to have visual appealing stuff. So I think it's going to be a good topic. And we'll go from there. So you have a good day, okay? I'm going to get off. And thanks for jumping on again, girl. We'll catch up later.